You know what? I could yell. I could scream. I could even call him some names. And deep down in there somewhere, I want to. I do want to, but that's not really going to get us anywhere, is it? Because after that game yesterday, I still feel a little bit sick after what I saw. And I'm seeing lots of commentary channels and all the usual fans come out and say, this player is horrible, this player is this, get rid of the manager and all that. And I understand the frustration. I do understand the frustration. And I think, as you will have known if you've been on this channel for a while, is that I try to take, not really like an overly positive angle. I like to consider it just a balanced view of things, because I'm not going down the pure positivity train of ignoring all of the clear faults that are at play and almost being toxic in a positive nature, because that's equally as bad. But just like that, I don't want to be that toxic nature where we sink as low as we can and then rise as high as we can. We need to find that level ground and actually take a bit of a step back and assess everything for what it is, because in this video, not only do we need to discuss what happened yesterday, but also the fact that this is now a year into Ruben Amorim's reign, and we need to discuss what has happened in that time and what we can assess going forward, and really what we've been missing. That's what this video is coming to address. So if you are new to the channel, this is the non-toxic Manchester United channel where we do have good, healthy and keen and calm discussions about Manchester United. So if you want to be a part of that community, all you have to do is drop a little subscribe. We're at 10k and the Q&A is out soon and the giveaway is going to be planned. So the next goal for us is hitting that magic 20. So if you can help us hit that, that would be amazing. But ultimately, there is quite a lot to discuss about Manchester United today. And I just want to kick it off with this. You cannot be any kind of representative of Manchester United, whether you're a player or a manager or even a staff member, and be afraid to take risks. The greatest times of Manchester United have always been at the times where we have taken the most risk. No risk, no reward. And that has always been in the fabric and the DNA of the football club. And I feel like at least the one thing I can look at under Ruben Amorim as a real negative is that we are losing that. Because being wedded to a certain way of playing or being wedded to a certain system inhibits you from taking that risk, especially in a situation which presented itself like it did yesterday. And look, the system isn't the only reason why we're playing badly, because ultimately the players on the pitch have to do better than what they have been doing. But it does inhibit them, and it doesn't seem to be able to take advantage of certain situations. Like, we don't seem to be able to adjust to things in the game, and the players seem to understand where we're going with it. And 1 year is long enough. 1 year is long enough for the manager to get through to his players what he wants them to do, and for the players to understand that and progress onto the pitch, because the progression has been stuttered. So you can't call it a progression. For every single good result, there's been a terrible result. So there is no progress as far as I can see in terms of the playing on the pitch. I think the progress has come off the pitch, where I think Ineos have done better business. I think that we've increased the culture. I think that we've improved our stance as a football club versus some of the players who are hurting that. I think that has improved, and I think Ruben Amorim does deserve credit for that. But equally, you are the man responsible for getting us to play good, attractive football. That's the DNA of Manchester United, and risk is all a part of that. He's scared to take risks. I understand when you're coming in, that's how it might feel, and you might be a bit reticent to do all of that. But now you're here. You're here for a very long time. Not just that, but the fans have given you a bly. And the fans have been very, very fair to you. And we just need a crumb of hope to cling on to. So many games have we gone into where it's been hopeless. And that's what yesterday's was. Yesterday might just look like a 1-0 loss at home to Everton. That can happen all the time. In context, that's one of the most insipid and horrible performances I've seen under Ruben Amorim. The result might not say that, but the entire game we're playing against 10 men, and the tactical decisions were poor, the substitutions were bad, the individual performances were awful. I can't exempt a single Manchester United player from that game last night. And that hurts. And that really, really hurts, because you see where we could have been in the table had we taken it seriously and had we played properly, and we didn't. And the thing that I mentioned about, bad substitutions and all these types of things with Ruben, I think there is a level of tactical naivety that he played in that game. I mean, having 3 left-sided players on the left side of the pitch who are all going to do the same thing. No. I saw a really good creator called Aaron Sakaya who broke that down better than I ever can because he's really good at tactics. Please go check him out if you can. But he said that exact thing. You can't have 3 left-sided players or 3 left-footed players on that left side because they're only going to give you the same thing, an overlap. And when they cut in, they can't do anything with it. Luke Shaw has no right foot. Dalot only has a right foot. When he comes on and you're expecting him and Luke Shaw to work together when they're both basically vying for the same position. It was just dreadful. And the substitutions, I want to say, I didn't think it was a bad choice to bring on Kobbie Mainoo when he did. And I don't think it was a bad choice necessarily to bring on Dalot when he did, necessarily. But you put them in the wrong position. Like, Kobbie Mainoo didn't do anything in that game. That's not on Ruben Amorim, by the way. I think Kobbie Mainoo needs to look at himself because if he's still, like, we're hearing rumblings from his camp, and I know I'm going around the houses, and I'll go to each individual in a minute, but if he thinks that he can play like that and have a reason to say that I deserve to play more, no, you don't. You were awful. All of them were. Every single player was awful. But then when you put Dalot on the left side, there's only so much he can do because he's not that type of player. When you have Lenny Yoro as your main outlet from the centre-back role to push forward, you're not going to get anywhere with it. It was a repeat of the Europa League final in every single way. Playing Ahmad further up the pitch and then eventually regressing him back when you know he needs space, but he's already knackered from what he's had to do in the past 70 minutes. It was just purely naive from Ruben Amorim to assume that he could get away with all of that stuff. And I'm not going to take anyone in the comments of this video or anywhere else that say, oh, we really missed Cunha, we really missed Šeško. We do not need Mateus Cunha and Benjamin Šeško to create chances against an Everton team at home who were at 10 men for 82 minutes. We don't need that. If that's where we're at as a football club, then we've regressed even further to where we were before. Because how many times have we said that we don't want to be a one-club man? We don't want to rely on Bruno. We don't rely on this player. So we're relying on these ones now, are we? And what Šeško, all of a sudden you're saying we need him when everyone was calling for his head a couple of weeks ago. And Mateus Cunha, who hasn't had the greatest output, but yes, I think he could have impacted the game a lot better than, let's say, a Mason Mount or a Joshua Zirkzee did. Again, we'll get into them. But we cannot be in a position where that is the nucleus of Manchester United. We don't have this player, we don't play well. That's pathetic. That is what your system is supposed to neutralize. You're supposed to have a system that allows to bring the best out of these players, and the system doesn't. The system doesn't bring the best out of these players. It doesn't bring a level of consistency that we need to look at going forward. But I've said a lot about the system. I've said a lot about the manager, who I think needs to take a look at himself introspectively and say, in this year, have you done enough? And for me, the answer is absolutely not. That's not to say I don't back him to get it right. That's not enough to say I don't think he's one of the best options in terms of who's available right now, in terms of his pedigree and what he did have coming through versus the other ones available now and what they had compared to him at Sporting. I'm not saying any of that, but he has been bad. It's as simple as that. Ruben Amorim has been bad. We've sunk to new lows under him, and he needs to be aware of that. Equally, the players need to be at fault. Equally, the players need to be at fault because Senny Lamans, really good. I think he probably should have saved that shot from Dewsbury Hall. It was his weak foot. Maybe he was unsighted, but he didn't set himself well enough for it. That can happen, but he didn't do anything else for the game. That is just one of those things. I don't think it was a howler. Let's put it that way. Yoro, I thought was horrible. I thought Yoro had a really bad game, and that can happen again for a 19 to 20-year-old. But I'm looking at these other players. Matthijs de Ligt, who I've been I've praised him all throughout this season. He didn't win a single duel aerially against Tieno Barry. Tieno Barry won the most aerial duels of any player in the Premier League against any other Premier League team at Old Trafford yesterday when they were 10 men. It's ridiculous. And Luke Shaw, how the hell is he still playing for this football club? I don't understand it because you offer us nothing. I talked earlier about how insipid and how boring our football was. He typified that to a T because he didn't do anything. There were no overlapping runs. There were no anything. And that does make me think, is it the player or is it the manager telling them that? None of us know that for sure. Sure. But none of us know that for real, do we? We don't. But then I'm seeing Dorgu have a stinker and not doing anything moving forward. And yet he was better for Denmark than he was for us. And that's a common theme, really, with Man United players. I thought Ahmad tried as much as he could in the first half, fell away in the second. The exact same with Mboma. Do you know why? Because David Moyes tactically outplayed Ruben Amorim. That's the fact that we have to get into this, because we as a football club are one of the best at scoring in the first half in the Premier League this season and the worst at conceding in the second half. That's when it comes to a point where the managers actually invade the game and do something about it. That says a lot about Ruben. It says a lot about the players, where they can't hold on to wins, they can't hold on to leads, they can't hold on to anything. But yesterday's game was just ridiculous, and the players have to be accountable to that. Casemiro, who we've been really praising this season as well, gets a stupid yellow card when he doesn't have to, has to get taken off because we know what can happen if he doesn't, and reduces everything to 10 men, like he did against Chelsea. Do you know what I mean? And then you have Bruno Fernandes trying everything, but he's faced up against 9 blue shirts. There's only so much he can do from a deeper position. He doesn't want to be in that deeper position. And he sometimes plays well in it. Most of the time he doesn't. But he is trying to adjust as best as he can. And he's the one that I'll try and give a blight to, because he will create something. And he will at least do something. I then look at Mbeumo, who I thought had a really poor game. Tried everything, but I think he had a really bad game. Just nothing came off for him. I thought Mason Mount, when he came on, did absolutely nothing. And Joshua Zirkzee, that was your chance. You had a golden opportunity to do something in that game, because you are the type of striker who drops it in, and you can distort that heavy back line and stop us reducing ourselves to crosses all of the time. But you didn't do any of that. Your touch was horrible. Your passes were awful. Your link-up play was terrible. Oh, he's not match fit. You're a professional football player. You're a professional football player. You do not need to be constantly match in order to get a 5-yard pass going. Stop with the excuses. Please stop with it. And the worst excuse that I've seen so far is from fans looking at Ruben Amorim and saying, he needs more players. We need to buy him more players. I'm going to go out on a limb and say absolutely not. Because I'm not stuck on last season. I'm not stuck on the Europa League final. I'm not stuck on that. But it still has to play into your thinking, because we have to now, after a year in the job, look at Ruben Amorim and say, what have you really given us? What have you really done? Like I said before, I think the off-field stuff, he's actually improved. I genuinely do. I think the mentality of some of the players, I think he's improved our position as a football club relative to these players who thought that player power was running rife at the club, as they had done for many years. I think he has fixed a lot of that issue. And I think that was a hard thing to do. I understand all of that. But the players that we brought in for him, in a season where we lost that European final, we finished 15th in the league, we have no European football this season, we gave him a lot. We gave him a brand new goalkeeper, shipped the other one out. We gave him a whole new strike force, and now he's almost relying on that strike force. It's almost as if he can't do anything to raise the overall technical floor of the football club. It's ridiculous. Ruben Amorim, for me, needs, and I said this at the beginning of the season, he needs to do a hell of a lot more to prove that he is worthy of additional investment in the football club. The club itself might need investment, but to prove that you're the guy who deserves to wield that investment, you need to do more. Because right now, you haven't done enough. That is a simple fact. He hasn't done enough. And there are loads of other managers who could sustain a level of football which is better than this and get us better results and do all of that stuff. There are loads of managers to do that. We plugged into Ruben Amorim to say, we know that this is going to be a huge adjustment. We know that there's going to be a lot of tactical adjustment, and we know it's going to be difficult in the early stages. A year with no linear progress, it's so hard to justify anything with him. And all this stuff about, we'll just be going back to square one, going back to basics. Like we always do this with managers. We need to see something. Right now, the data points to he is not the guy, but hope points to that he is. And I'm struggling because I want Ruben Amorim to succeed. Don't get it twisted. I want him to succeed, but I'm not going to be blind to the problems that are there. And we, as fans, deserve so much more after last season. For me, after last season, I could put that to one side if the players and the managers and everyone associated at Manchester United gives us 120 to 150% every single week. You play once. You play one time. You're a football player. You get hundreds of thousands of pounds a week. You get one game a week. Show us everything. Because you know why? The economy has gotten to a point where it is getting more and more difficult for fans to go to football matches. And yet we still do. we still plug into the pride and the hope of wearing that badge because it means everything to us. All we ask in return is that we see that level of love and pride in people actually representing that shirt on that football pitch. I'm well aware that I can talk about Joshua Zirkzee poor touch or the bad intensity, but if I was actually on the pitch, I would run until I have an asthma attack, which would probably get me 30 seconds of game time. I'm fully aware of that. But I would still run until I had that asthma attack because that club means something to me. It means everything to me. And these footballers need to understand that the fans come to see that. I'm pretty sure I speak for every Manchester United fan when we can say that we don't have to win every single game. We don't. We're not expecting to win every single game, but we expect that you show a level of fight and attitude and aptitude to actually go on and win a game of football. Instead, you lay down at home after 2 weeks of not being able to watch you in front of a packed Old Trafford crowd, in front of 10 men of Everton who could not believe their luck. And right now, what I can't believe is that we have almost got to normalize this. We don't have to normalize it. It's pathetic. Every single one of those players and representatives of the club from a managerial point of view, from a staffing point of view, need to look at themselves introspectively and understand that we as fans deserve better. And we deserve everything they've got. And when they don't give us everything they got, that's where the anger comes from. That's why I'm angry. And I'm so annoyed that we read these program notes about, we have to be right in from the first stop and from the get-go, we have to be going in on teams. You didn't do that. At any point, Everton were comfortable. And I think David Moyes outclassed Ruben Amorim as soon as the tactics really came into the game. Because there was a point, let's say between, 12 minutes when the red card was given to 60 minutes. That was your time to be intense and to go and win it. We didn't do that. And then after that, that's when the tactics really come into play. But I don't even think it was that difficult to do that. So it's just ridiculous. And now we're in a position where instead of potentially being in a European spot, either 5th or 4th place, and we can say, yeah, we're unbeaten in 6 and we've won the majority of those games. Look at some of these results. We are now winless in 3. That's how, playing one game a week, that's how everything can turn on a knife edge. And like I say, you have to give us everything you've got because it's not just about the results. I can safely say that after the 1-0 loss at Arsenal at home, at the opening game of the season, I didn't feel anywhere near like I felt today. This made me feel like Grimsby. It just felt hopeless because we should have beaten that team. They were there to be beaten and we didn't even try. We didn't even bother. We resorted to lumping it into the box tactics like 60 minutes. We were giving away stupid free kicks all over the place because we were petulant and we didn't have the patience to know that we can just sit in and counter-attack them if ever they came forward. And we gave away a foul throw. I don't know why this pisses me off, yeah. I think it was Ahmad. He gave away a foul throw on 85 minutes. That summed us up. And I'm annoyed. I'm annoyed at everything. And I could go in and look, I've been going for nearly 20 minutes on this video, so I'm very, very sorry. But I'm upset. I'm really upset that this is the way we decided to attack that game. And we should have done far better than what we did do. And now we're in a position where we're going to go play Crystal Palace away. We're going to lose that game, I think. Because not just because we're bad at the moment, but I think Crystal Palace are brilliant. And also, now, I would say Sunderland was a really good performance, really good result. Liverpool, great performance, great result. Brighton, great performance, great result. Forest, not a great performance, decent result in the circumstances. Same with Spurs, but then it got worse and worse. Now we're there again. They need to raise the floor of our own expectations of Manchester United, and they're the only ones who can do that. So let's see what happens from it. This felt like therapy to me. So I hope you took away something from this video because yes, I'm angry. And I hope that you're taking away something that what this channel needs to be is I'm not going in on certain players as the whole reason for why everything is wrong. I'm going in on them as a collective because we as fans, in my opinion, deserve better. But let me know what you think in the comments below. Subscribe if you are new. And remember, I do read and respond to every single comment. I need to do it on the last video, which I'll go and do now. But Thank you so much for your support. It means everything to me, especially on this journey when it's going to be up and down, and I'm doing my best to kind of, get us moving in the right direction as like thinking as a fan base. But yeah, thank you very much for your time today, and I will see you on the next video.